Hello and welcome to my SEO training. Now, SEO I think has become this big mystical thing that is confusing the hell out of everybody, and it really needn't be. And I'm really hoping that this beginner's guide to SEO is going to help you demystify it so that you feel confident to do some steps. It doesn't have to be. Now, SEO is like ever evolving and there is so much you could do. It could be your full-time job. And if you enjoy it, then great. It's a great way to spend your time doing all the little things we're going to talk about today. But if it's not, then I think it's important for you to understand what needs to be done so that you can outsource the bits that need to be done. There are some real charlatans, I think is the right word, out there who will take your money gladly, a lot of money, and deliver very little. Now, I have a very long relationship with SEO. It is how I started my business. People used to ask me, my business was growing and growing, and people used to ask me, like, where are you advertising? And I would say, I don't actually do any advertising. It's all through Google. Now the landscape is completely different. I started like 16 years ago. The landscape is totally different now. We have social media. We didn't back then. Can you imagine? Can you imagine a life without social media? But you know, so there's pros and cons. It's a noisier world, which is why I think SEO is becoming so complicated and so overwhelming for everybody. Back when I was doing it, it's literally all I had to do was what I'm going to share with you. And there's a lot more rules in place now. Google is becoming cleverer and cleverer and more savvy to any little trick. So you have to be above board and totally white hat. White hat just means like you be prepared to tell anybody what you're doing. There's no like there's no dodgy going on, like giving someone £5 for a link or something like that. So there was a lot of black hat, they used to call it, like real dodgy dealing, so setting up networks of sites. I think some of this still goes on, but Google's very hot on bringing that down because Google's primary purpose in life is to share the good sites with the people that are looking for it. So if you're looking for vitamins, Google wants to show you the best sites on vitamins. So your role with all of this, your goal with all of this, is to become the best site in your niche, and then you will have no problems. You will have no problems at all. Now that can be a little bit difficult at times, and we'll talk about that when we get later on to the keywords, because that's the crux of it all, the keywords and the key phrases. But I think it's important before we get there for you to really understand what is SEO, okay? And it's great because I'm training a wonderful lady at the moment who has no experience in this to do my own SEO. My journey, I used to do it all myself, and then I got really busy in business, so I outsourced it, and I outsourced it to the wrong people. And I think they did some dodgy dealings on my behalf, like dodgy links and stuff. But that was quickly rectified, and then I had this black hat competitor who did all this black hat SEO on my site. So I think Google have caught on to this, because in a certain period of time it used to be possible for you to damage your competitors' ratings by sending loads of dodgy links, you know, like porno links and really bad links to someone's site. Google would think that the site owner was trying to do sort of black hat SEO, like loads of rubbish links, and it would bring it down. You know, you would get blacklisted, or you'd end up in the sandbox, they'd call it, where your site's still there, it's still visible when you type in www.mydomain.com, but Google wouldn't be showing anybody, it wouldn't be listing it in any of its pages. And the ultimate goal with all this is for you to be on the first page. When someone searches for something around what you do, you want to be on the first page. So my journey with it is I had amazing success with it, and then I got so busy I outsourced it. It went a little bit wrong. Then I had an awful lady try and bring me down, and she really damaged my ratings. I'm still struggling now, like however many years on it is, because she sent a lot of rubbish links to my site. But I think I wouldn't let that worry you. It's a very few people in the world that are that vindictive, and I just happen to have attracted someone like that. So don't let that worry you. But I'm using that as an example for you to understand why it is so important to get the good links, to do the good work, to be genuine. So not about, there used to be a period in time in the SEO world where it used to be trying to pull the wool over Google's eyes. So you used to like stuff keywords onto a page, so you put white text on a white background so no one can see it, but Google for a time would think, oh, there's loads of text on that page, that's really great. So those times are dead, and I think that's a really good thing. So if you're a genuine business owner, like I know you are, then you're going to do the genuine work, okay? So before I go into the technicals of it, I want to explain the fundamentals, because like I said, I'm helping a lady who's totally gorgeous do the SEO for our company. Now she's got no experience and she's studying like crazy, bless her. But I think it's going to be amazing because I'm going to teach her how to do our SEO, and I'm going to share that training with you guys. So you will have the absolute best training there is, because I'm not going to give dodgy training to people that are doing my SEO. So it's going to be totally transparent. I'm going to share our results with you. It's not an overnight thing. SEO is not an overnight thing. It's a labour of love, but it pays dividends. It's my favourite way of bringing in business, okay? But you need a real strategy and structure in place. So what's been great about working with this gorgeous lady is that she is a complete newbie. So when I'm talking to her, it's like, yeah, but what happens with that? And I'm really starting to understand where the blocks are with SEO. You know, when I'm on my own, or previously, I haven't had that feedback. So I would use terminology and things, and it might confuse people, but they didn't feel able to tell me. So I'm urging you, if you're watching this training and there's anything that just doesn't make sense, chances are there's 100 other people that it doesn't make sense to either. So let me know. I want this to take a complete beginner through to getting that first page on Google. So why does SEO work? SEO, I'm going to move on to I want to cover these. So why does it work? I will come on to what SEO is in a minute, but it works because you're putting out, it's around the content. The content that you are creating is the crux. And I've got a whole few slides on what content is and how you can do it. But it's basically creating information and sharing it with the world. When you write your content, it goes in various places. So it's really understanding. What I want you to get from this training is really understanding the fundamentals, the real basics, because when it clicks into place of why you're doing it and what you have to do and the end goal, the rest of it becomes like, it just makes sense. There's no rocket science to any of this. There's no special formulas. It just makes perfect sense when you understand it at that level. And I'm really hoping that you get to the end of this training, or I know you will, because it's like my goal, for you to really understand what it is you're trying to do with SEO. So what is SEO and SEM? So SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization, or SEM is Search Engine Marketing, okay? Basically pretty much of a muchness. It's basically optimizing your marketing to show on the front page of the search engines. Now we always talk about Google because that is the main guy, he's the big deal. But you've got Yahoo and Bing and various other ones popping up and down. So don't just rule out the other ones. And it's sometimes easier to get rankings on the other ones. They've all got different algorithms. And when I say algorithm, it's basically, they've got their own little bits of code and programs that analyse the content that you're writing. So say you write a page of content, a Word document, and Google get to see that chunk of text. It will be putting over it, making lots of calculations of, how many times words appear and how many times people link to it, and making its own mind up of if it's a good bit of content or not. Because Google, let's just talk about Google, even though I've already said there's lots of others, but I'm going to refer to Google. It's a robot, it's a computer. It doesn't read from a person's perspective every bit of content and say, yeah, that's written well, that is a genuine piece, or that's only written to get onto Google and to make money, okay? It doesn't have that capacity, so it has to have written a program for it to analyse what is on the page, what is happening around the page, the history of the page, for it to understand if it's a good bit or not. So it's called an algorithm. Each search engine has its own algorithm, and it's just their way of understanding what piece of content should go above the other, what should go on the front page, what should go on page 100, what order should they all go in. No one knows the exact algorithm because it's a secret. Obviously, it's like what makes them special, because the closer that algorithm delivers the good stuff, the more people are going to use the search engine. So if Google had a really poor algorithm, if Google couldn't decipher between the rubbish content and the brilliant content, every time you search for vitamins, you would get a mixture of really rubbish content, and you'd have to sift through which bits made sense and which bits didn't. And that's why Google is top dog, is because it's delivering the content we want to see. We're not having to go through all this spammy rubbish on the internet to get to what we want. We pretty much know that if we type in vitamins, we are going to get, I mean, that's not a very good keyword, is it? Vitamins for kids delivery or something. We pretty much know we're going to get one of the best people out there on that subject to look at. Yeah? So that's all it is. So what our job is as a marketer of our business is to create content that Google sees as top dog in that niche for that key phrase, so that it delivers it to the searchers looking for you. I hope that makes sense. It's really important for you to understand the concept of what it's all about. So do comment and let me know if this still doesn't quite resonate with you. Ultimately, all you need to understand is that your job in all of this is to write brilliant content that is optimized to show Google exactly what it's about, and to show Google that it is worthy of them displaying it within their front page. Okay? As long as you understand that, you'll be fine. Okay. Now, the elements to SEO, you've got your domain name. Now, that's your www.victoriacaseborn.com, mydomainname.com, mydomainname.co.uk. You've got the hosting. You've got the content, which we've just spoken about. You've got the keywords. You've got the links. You've got the social proof, and you've got the results that you're going to get. Okay. So I'm going to go by each one in a little bit more depth. So the domain name. You've got various elements when you're choosing a domain name. You've got the TLD, which is the .co.uk or the .com or the .net or the .me. There's lots and lots. So if you go to look for a domain name, then you can have victoriacaseborn.com, victoriacaseborn.co.uk, victoriacaseborn.limited, victoriacaseborn.london, loads, okay? So typically, it used to be that the .co.uk, the .com, like the country-specific ones, the main ones, were the best, that Google put more weight on that. I don't know if that's true anymore, to be honest. I don't know that that's true. I would probably always go with one of the main ones because it's what people understand. So if they forgot... so if I met someone in a networking event and I said on my website victoriacaseborn.com, they couldn't remember, but it was victoriacaseborn.club, they might forget the .club because it's out of the ordinary, but they would remember .com or .co.uk, so they'd give both of those a go. Does that make sense? They might remember your main bit, but if you make it too complicated, it's a bit of an obscure one, people will have to remember that as well. When you're choosing your domain name, back in the good old days, it used to help if you had your keywords in the domain, and it still, I think, makes a difference, but there's no proof to back that up, and I don't think it's going to harm you either way. So I think the most important thing is to go with your brand name. Google loves brands because it shows that it's an identity, and it's not just a marketing site, it's a proper business, okay? So it loves the brand, you know, like a brand name. So if you can, I mean, I don't think in this day and age you need to worry too much about your domain name unless you're deliberately trying to like scam Google and put loads of keywords in your domain name. So www.bluewidget.com because you want to rank for Blue Widget. If it's too obviously an advertising site, then you might come into trouble. Whereas if it was Victoria's Blue Widgets, for instance, I might have more of a chance there because it's like Victoria's Blue Widget is my company name, and it's about Blue Widgets, and it's a brand name, if that makes sense. So I don't think it really matters that much in this day and age. as much as it used to, but I wouldn't try and, I pick it for the right reasons, what's right for your business rather than what's right for the search engines. And then you need to register the domain. So if you go to victoriacase1.com/123reg, that's the company that I use for everything. All of my domain names, they're brilliant, never had any problems. They did have a bit of a DOS attack where they were brought down for a little while last week. It's never happened before, and all the biggies are getting hit, so can't hold it against them, bless them. So yeah, victoriacase1.com/123reg, that's my affiliate link. So if you were to buy a domain name, it doesn't cost you any more, but they just say a thank you for mentioning them. But I've used them for the entire time I've been online, so I would definitely recommend them. Okay, so when you choose your host, now a host is the service you pay for that deliver the content you're going to create so that the world can access it. If you have written, say, a Word document and it's on your computer, the only person that can access that is you or your family that get onto the computer. You'd basically have to be sat in front of the computer in order to see the content, okay? The host is like a computer, a massive computer, but it allows people to dial in. I mean, that's back in the old days, but in theory, dial in and look at the pages, the files on that computer from anywhere in the world. So that means that someone in Dubai can visit your content. The websites tend to be built using in a special language that allow it to be visually displayed on the screen, okay? So I don't think you really need to understand like a Word document versus HTML. You don't really need to understand at this level the difference, because there are, what you see is what you get, editors out there, such as WordPress. So you don't need to understand any of the coding which turns your content into a website. You just need to know that once you've written your content, you put it into WordPress, it does its magic and turns it into a web page, and anyone around the world can see it because it's on the host, okay? This stuff I'm explaining, even if you don't get it, if you don't understand what a host is, it doesn't matter. Just know that you need a host. For you to have a website online that anyone can visit, you need a host, okay? Now, when you're choosing your host, you need to look at the speed. It needs to be fast, okay? Google puts a lot of emphasis on in its algorithm that we spoke about earlier on speed, okay? So it needs to deliver quickly, and there are speed tests online which I can link to in the more detailed training. The location, if you're UK based, I would go with a UK host, okay? Unless all your business is going to be America, you know, like US or Australia. If you're a UK company, I'd go with a UK host, because again, it's going to deliver quicker because it hasn't got so far for the signals to go over the internet, okay? It wants to be reliable. You don't want to have a host that is down all the time. It needs to be up pretty much all of the time. So check out the reliability of it. Look for feedback. Look for the support. So look for reviews online. So I at victoriacase1.com/VidaHost. I use VidaHost. Their support's really good. I'm really quite happy with them. They're quite reasonable. But there's loads of hosts out there. So that's UK based. So look. You know, do a bit of research, Googling feedback, find, you know, ask on Facebook what host you use. But yeah, so you need a host. You don't really need to understand the technical behind it. It's just the service that allows your content to be displayed to the masses, okay? Okay, so when I talk about content, there's a lot of chat around blogs, okay? I think we all think that blogging is the SEO content, okay? Whilst blogs are great because they're frequent, you know, so let me just talk about the different, okay, you've got pages, and I use WordPress for everything because it's great, but this will apply for all websites, okay? So your pages are like static. Say you were going to do a brochure before computers, it's like a static piece of information. It doesn't really change. So the contact times, how to contact you, about you, the services you offer, like the information about your product. Now that can be SEO'd, okay? You can optimize those pages to be found on Google. So it doesn't have to be blog pages. If you're an e-commerce shop, you might have your product pages, your category pages, All of those can be optimized to be displayed on the front page of Google. Blogs. Now blogs are more newsy, more, you know, you could have like a 3-word blog, you could have an image blog, you could have a video blog, you can have an epic blog of all proportions, you can have like a few words, you can share someone else's stuff in a blog. So you've got to see blogs as like it's like your newsletter, your virtual newsletter that goes out, and it's just a way of you sharing new content onto your website. Now the reason why that is so important is because one of the things Google looks at when it's doing its little algorithm checks is how frequently updated the site is it fresh content. So you're not going to want to change your info pages all the time, you're not going to want to add product pages all the time, because they're fairly static, but you will want to add blogs all the time. You know, it might be that you do it weekly, monthly, daily. Choose a schedule that you can stick to. You can, you know, consistency gets banded around all the time. I think sometimes, especially creative entrepreneurs, it can be really difficult to nail that consistency, but you can pre-schedule it. So you could sit down in a day and write 20 blogs and then schedule them to come out over 20 weeks, okay? So you don't have to worry about it. So like once a quarter, you write down all your blogs for the next quarter. But blogs are really where it's at because you can have the most flexibility with it. So if you sell blue widgets, now let me think of something. Say you sell children's bibs, babies' bibs. All your product pages will be about your bibs, your info pages will be about your bibs. But what else will someone looking to buy bibs? I don't know where I come up with these random products that always sound, I did one video about burger bars. So we're saying burger bars. Just so now I've got bibs. So think about what people are going to be looking for. Who is going to be searching for bibs? Who is your ideal target market? What will they be looking for online? So it might be baby grows. So do some blogs around baby grows. You don't sell baby grows, so you can't do a shop page, and you probably don't want it on your info pages. But you can blog around the top 10 baby grows on the market and hopefully get that blog on the front page when someone searches for baby grows, because once they read your blog on baby grows, they will see you also sell bibs, and someone looking for baby grows also wants bibs. So that's how the blogs work. It allows you to skirt around the edges of your subject and bring people in, okay? And also you can have fun. You could do fun things around bibs. You could do reviews like the top 10 bibs on the internet, the top 10, what's your favourite bib design? I don't know, you know? So you can have fun around it basically. Infographics. So images are huge. So it can be images of your bibs. It can be like patterns that you've come up with. Infographics. So it could be like how a bib is made, but in a graphical form. So look at the content that you create and say, can I attach a diagram? So we've done a few statistical blogs about franchising at the minute and running your own business, so we could turn that into a pie chart and have that as a graphic. Now images are shared a little bit more widely than lots of text based, because online it's very difficult for us to read, but we can get a lot of value out of a quick image. Yeah, that's why infographics are really important in your marketing and do really well. And also you want the images on your blog posts so that you can pin them to Pinterest, which is a massive source of traffic and great link juice, which we'll get onto later. So they're good for sharing on social media, great for Pinterest, and just helps get your message across and also Google likes the fact that it's like a multimedia, so you've got some text, you've got some image, maybe the video, and it shows it's nice thought out piece. It's not just a bit of text thrown on a page. So always be thinking, how can I show Google this is a really good piece of content that it's going to want to share, okay? Now, not every piece is going to be this epic, amazing piece, so I think it's good to have some little funny, little tiny bits and some bigger bits, you know, because it shows it's a natural blog, yeah? Videos is huge. So YouTube is like the second biggest search engine to Google, I think. It changes all the time. So if you manage to get a video on your blog, so whether it's its own like a vlog, or whether it's you could read out your blog on video, you could do an image video, there's loads of ways you can create videos, and I'll do a whole different training session, all the videos you can do. So you can either do like a screen share like I'm doing with you, it could be you talking on your iPhone, or you could just do like fun little image ones of your product. So loads of videos, but that means you can get them on YouTube, you can share them on Facebook, you can get them everywhere. And again, every time you put something on YouTube, it's a link back to your blog. That's what you're thinking about, like get your content that you're writing and you're designing everywhere, as long as it's bringing a link back to your site, because it's going to show Google that you're serious about what you're doing and to take notice of you because you're everywhere. Imagine in a local area, if you've got a business person out there, you've probably got them on your social media, who are just everywhere. They're into everything. They're commenting on everything. And you over time you think, well, they're really successful because they're everywhere and everyone's loving them. And Google thinks in the same way, but more of an analytical, by using, there's lots of social activity around it and it's being shared a lot, and they got an image and a video and stuff on that subject. They must really know their stuff. That is what we've got to get into the mindset of, okay? This is all there is to SEO. And I hope, even if the rest has been gobbledygook, I just hope that you understand that the key to all of this is to produce brilliant content in various different forms, to show Google that you know what you're talking about and that your business is worth advertising for free on the first page of Google, yeah? And then you've got the social post. So it could be where you're sharing something, like a post. You could take snippets out of your blog post and share it. You can share your images. That's content as well, and Facebook and Twitter can sometimes come up on the first page of Google as well. So don't always think that it has to be your blog and your website that you're optimizing. You might have an Etsy store where you could optimize the Etsy store. You could have an Amazon store, you could optimize that and send links and do stuff around that. You could have a PDF on SlideShare and you could optimize that. Your videos on YouTube, you can optimize them. So it doesn't have to be your website. So if you don't have a website, you can still do SEO. You can still get to the first page of Google. I think there's so Facebook notes and something. I haven't had a proper look at them, but I would imagine they will be optimizable and have the potential to be on the first page of Google, because it's text, it's content. People are going to get value from it. So Google is going to want to share it. So it doesn't have to be on your website. It can be anything, but always be thinking about content and where you can put it and how you can get links back to your site, but you can also promote your sort of little third part, your YouTube channel and your Pinterest channel and everything like that. It's my cat in the background, bless him. Okay, so this is what I sort of touched on, where to put it. So once you've created your content, you've made a video, you've written an amazing blog post, you've written an article, you've written an ebook, you've written anything, put it on your site first, because then your site gets the credit for it. So what Google doesn't like is duplicate content. So don't have the same bit of content in various different places without changing it slightly. Google will see that as a bit spammy. And don't have the same don't copy someone else's content and put it on your site. Again, it's a no-no. So put it on your site first, and then you can tell Google to come and spider, it's called. So the algorithm basically has this thing called a spider, and if you just imagine it, it goes to your front page and then it goes off on all the little links to see what all the pages are, and it creates a snapshot of your site. That's what Google's doing all of the time. And the busier your site, the more content you have, it's going to visit it daily. If it's quite a quiet site, not a lot going on, it might take it a week to come round to you. It prioritises the busy sites that it thinks is doing a really good job. So it sends off its little spider to each homepage and then follows all the links and then reports back, what pages has this site got, what's it talking about, and it creates its big database so that when someone types in widget, it can find it within seconds, yeah? So that's what's happening. So put it on your site first and then let Google know about it so that it's yours. Share it as far as you can on social media. Don't think you have to share it once. Share it every day for the week. Share it every day for the month. Keep sharing it, yeah? Each time you share it on your Twitter, on your Facebook, on your Pinterest, it's another link to your site. So don't be shy about sharing your blog posts. I'm guilty of this. You think you've done something once, you've shared it, and no one's going to want to see it again. Well, the chances are that 80% of the people that follow you haven't seen that blog post, you've put a lot of effort into it, share it and share it and share it, okay? Put it on, you can repurpose it. So repurposing is basically taking your content, maybe reading it out as an audio, creating a video from it, shorting it down, taking a snippet and expanding on it. So look at ways to repurpose what you've already done into different formats so that you can get maximum value. So you could turn it into a PDF and put it onto SlideShare. You can slightly reword elements and blog, send it to someone else's blog as a guest blog. Now, guest blogging is basically where you say you would come to victoriacaseborn.com and you would write something that would be of interest to my audience, and then I would put it on my blog and I would link to yours, so you're getting a link. Yeah, that's what guest blogging is. It's basically me creating content. If I wanted a guest blog, I would create some really great content and I would put it on. I would ask someone else, would you mind putting my blog onto your site? In exchange for a link, and if they did, then they would get some great content for free written by me, and I would get a little nod over to my site to say, oh look what Victoria Caseborn's written, and Google would see that and see, oh, you know, people are talking about me, so I must be like brilliant. And then YouTube videos, yeah, you can do your videos. If you do a video on your website or you do a Facebook Live, get it over to a YouTube channel. Podcast, it sounds scary, but actually it can be really easy. Anyone can have a podcast. I set mine up in 4 hours. It's really easy. And then so in your videos, if you extract the audio, you could create a podcast with it. Yeah? And even if you're in a retail company, you can still have a podcast. It doesn't have to be groundbreaking. What I'm slowly getting to grips with is that people just want to know you. So I'm going to start a vlog and a vlog, whatever, however you say it. And I haven't done it because I think I've got to reinvent the wheel every day and come up with something mind-boggling. It doesn't. I've just been watching some and people just talk about their day. So, you know, it can be content like that. It doesn't have to be this Shakespearean movie every time you do a video. It can be really just fun stuff to let people see behind the scenes. Okay. So the purpose of your content is A, to position you. Okay, you want your content to position you in front of Google and your ideal customer. So it needs to be well written, it needs to give value, it needs to spark engagement. People need to get to know you. So the main purpose of the content is positioning, okay? And you might want to send a Facebook ad over to that piece of content that you've written and put your heart and soul into, to show your audience, you know, the value that you are giving for free on your blog. You also want to use it to convert viewers and readers into customers. So you might want to think about your call to action, your CTA. So when someone is reading that blog, where could you lead them next? What action do you want that reader to take? Is it that if they're reading something around how a piece of fingerprint jewellery is made, perhaps you want to link them to check out your range. Maybe you have a free brochure that they can download so you get their email address. Maybe you want to send them somewhere else, you know. I mean, the key is that you want them to do something. So if they've got value from that piece of content, you want to think about what the next step is, because they probably want to take a next step with you. They've learnt something. Where can they go now? So tell them. If you don't tell them, they won't know. They'll click the back button. So get my free guide. You know, you really want like a lead magnet, they call it, a way of capturing, turning that traffic and that audience into an email list, because then you can start to sell on your email list. That would be the preferable way to go. You also want to help people that are searching. So answer questions in your blog. Any questions you get asked by your potential customers and your customers, write a blog post on each question. How do I edit an image? If I did a blog post by that, anyone that's on Google saying, how do I edit an image? My blog post, if it was good, might be shown. So I'm adding value, and then hopefully they might join or like me on Facebook, or they might come and follow me or something like that. That's what you want from your content. You want to get into conversation. So maybe it's a conversational piece, like I've just seen, what was it yesterday, watching something around Piers Morgan having a go at some mum who was a bit silly. but maybe I could have done a blog about that to get, you know, what do you think about this? Who's in the right? What would you think if that happened to you? Type thing, and then you might get some conversation on your blog. Now that's brilliant. Like we all know on social media, we want engagement. We want people to engage because Google thinks, well, there's real stuff happening there. That's good stuff. Yeah, if you're in a party and there was a load of chat and giggling in the corner one way and someone sipping on their brandy in the other corner, which way do you want to go? Yeah, think of it like that. Google is going to go and join the party because that's where the action is. So get into conversation on your blog, ask questions, encourage your viewers, your likers, your tweeters to come and get into conversation with you on your blog, because Google is going to see that other people are liking you enough that they are commenting on your blog. And try and help your tribe, like your customers, like, you know, once they've bought from you, how can you help them deliver that through your blog and your content, okay? So that is the purpose of it. So ultimately, it's to attract people that are searching for a particular thing, and then when they are there, deliver value so that they then want to get your lead magnet or make a purchase from you. So think about what that lead magnet could be. So for instance, we've just written, I say we, Claire has written an epic blog post on franchising and the downfalls of franchising, and then I've created a little quiz for them to find out which franchisee they are. So a quiz is really good, you know, if it's around something like, this is how Fingerprint Joy is, make my quiz and see which shape is right for you or something, yeah? And then through that they have to submit their email address. Okay, what are the keywords? So keywords, so this is the crux of SEO. Okay, this is the fundamental thing where SEO hangs off of, okay? So keywords would be widget, one word, okay? Not many people search for widget, and I wouldn't even try and optimize your page for it, because I think I ranked for keepsakes for a long time. I don't know if I am now. But people searching for keepsakes, they don't really have a clue what they're looking for. It's a bit mindless. So there'll be a lot of hard work involved in your point to rank for something, a single word, and you'll get very little benefit. What you've got to think about is the key phrases. So what are people searching into the search bar on Google? What are your ideal customers typing into that search bar to find what it is you do? So look at the buying process. What are the thoughts that they have? What questions would they ask? Are they reviewing a competitor, like feedback? How do I do SEO, for instance? I could display this training, and I could, you know, think about what people are searching into the key box, the search box, to find something that you do. And there will be loads, okay? Now, long tail is like the longer, like the more direct you have, the longer the key phrase, it's easier to rank for. And also it's probably that they're more ready to buy, they're further down the buying process. So if we use shoes for an example, if you search shoes on Google, you'll get high heels trainers. You're not really looking to buy shoes, are you? Just like looking at shoes, maybe. If you did red patent high heel shoes, or a particular brand of red shoes, you are particularly looking for that shoe because you are probably likely looking to buy that shoe. So you as a business, your shoe owner, you know, your shoe shop, will want to rank for patent red high heels or Jimmy shoes red. I'm not really a shoe person, but whatever branded, you know, because people are specifically searching for that item. A, that's easier to rank for, and B, you are attracting people that are so much further down the buying process that they are more likely to buy from you there and then, because they've already done the research. They've already gone from shoes to high heel shoes to red high heel shoes. They've already worked out what they want, and now they're just looking for the specifics that they want to buy. Okay, so that could be with your service, your product. It's thinking about finding those buying keywords. And then you need to go through selecting them. So again, in the more in-depth training, I'll do a video on how you analyze the keywords, how you look at the keywords you want to go for, which keywords you're going to do, and then you can monitor them. So there's software out there that you can have, and then it will show you where you are on Google, so you can watch it go up in a graph. So you choose your key phrase, so red patent shoes, and you'll probably be nowhere. And then over time, you'll start to come up on its radar. You might be 100, and then you'll become 40, and then you'll become 10, and then you might become 5. And you'll see it. And it's just really therapeutic to watch your rankings go up, because you know the work you're doing is generating a result. And as soon as you get onto page 1, which is between position 1 and 10, you will be generating traffic for that keyword. Now, part of the selecting process is to make sure that you optimize for key phrases that are searched for. So if you optimize for a random key phrase or word that nobody searches for, you can be position 1 and get no traffic. So you have to choose that key phrase wisely, so the effort you put in is going to generate you the traffic. Now, if you're selling a high-end product, you maybe don't need to sell that many to make it worth your while. If you're selling £10 widgets, you need to be making sure that you've got like 500,000 searches a month for that particular thing, or however many, because you're only going to get a percentage of the people that are searching for it to actually come and buy from you. It's all, internet marketing is all a numbers game, okay? So the final thing, and one of the big things, are links. So what are links? And I think this can be really confusing. It needn't be. So you have inbound links and you have outbound links, okay? Inbound links is where any other website, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, your Auntie Jo's hair salon, your Mother's B&B website, your local Chamber of Commerce, any other website out there that is not yours, that writes www.victoriacaseborn.com or www.yourdomainname.com and links to your site, puts that in some of their content, so it's created a link, yeah? So wherever they mention your domain name and they create a hyperlink, which is where you can click on it and it takes you to your website, that is an inbound link. That is taking traffic from their website. So they got Joe reading their blog post, yeah? So they've written a blog post that is on their blog, some content, and they mention that they've seen some SEO training by Victoria Caseborn. You can check it out here. So on that word here, they create a hyperlink that links them over to my website to this training. That is counted as one inbound link. Yeah? I will explain and show you in detail how you create a hyperlink in the training, but it's just to understand what an inbound link is. An inbound link is a link from any other website to your website. That is the gold. That is what we want. Yeah? An outbound link is where you, on your website, link to any other website in the world. Google, YouTube, your Auntie Jo's hair salon, whatever it is. I don't have an Auntie Jo, I don't have an auntie with a hair salon. But you, on your website, you can link to anybody, okay? You do not want to be linking to bad neighbourhoods. So if you link to porno sites or any really dodgy websites, Google's going to question your question whether you are worth linking to. If you've got, if you're selling baby gear and you're linking to really dodgy websites, it's going to probably not display your site. So really think carefully about who you're associating with, because every time you link to another website, you are giving a vote in Google's eyes to that website to say this website is worth visiting, it's good. So don't do a blog post on all the 100 worst websites you could ever visit, because Google's going to see that and not know that you're saying them that they're bad. It's going to see that you have voted for the 100 worst websites on the planet. It's going to see each link as a vote for those terrible sites. So pick the sites that you link to carefully. Now, you want as few outbound links as possible, because I don't know if it's still the case, but it used to be referred to as juice, link juice. So so your web page, say, has a cup of Google goodwill. Yeah, it has this vessel of goodwill that Google has given your page because it's bloody brilliant. Yeah, if you link to another web page, you are sharing some of that goodwill with that other page. So every link that you have from that page that Google thinks is bloody amazing, you are giving a vote. So you are letting, like, it's almost like a colander. It's like a hole in your vessel. So you are then sharing that goodwill to each page that you link to. You are sharing. So imagine your vessel becomes slightly less because you're sharing it out. So you don't want to go around linking to other people's sites willy-nilly. But you need to link to some, because Google doesn't want to see you as this little island on its own. So if you're writing an epic blog post on franchising, we would link to the franchise organisation, the bodies and stuff like that, because it makes sense that Google would see, well, how can the ultimate guide to franchising be complete without links to these key government bodies, yeah? So link to things consciously, not willy-nilly. But also you will want to link, because if someone does a guest blog on your post, on your site, you will want to reward them with a link. You might want to swap links. There's a little bit around swapping links at the minute that Google sees it for what it is. You're just swapping links, so it probably cancels each other out. It's probably not as valuable as it used to be. So your ultimate game is to get as many links to you and as few links out as possible. Only link to the big guys, but you might need to link to some people. So saying that, if you did the 100 top business entrepreneurs in the UK, you will link to all 100 entrepreneurs, okay? Because that's the sort of page that it is. And actually, that can be beneficial, because each of the 100 people you've linked to might then share that page because you've said that they're brilliant, yeah? So sometimes it's useful to have linking to other people, because it might encourage them to share your content because you've linked to them. So if you're talking around baby grows, for instance, and you sold bibs, you might want to sort of mention a few of the key baby grow suppliers that people can buy from in your blog. A, it makes it a more complete article, and B, you might make a relationship with those baby grow suppliers that might then link to you about your bibs. Yeah? It's all strategic. But don't go linking to loads of rubbish baby grow suppliers, because that's just going to devalue your page. I hope this is making sense. Why are they important? Okay, so each link that you get to your website is a vote for you. So think of it as an electoral campaign, some sort of competition, which it is. The more people that link to you and your website is a vote for you. So you want as many votes as you can get, yeah? And like I talked about link juice, if you imagine that we can let link juice seep out when we link, people that are linking to you are sharing their link juice, yeah? Again, I think it's changed a bit, but I quite like the analogy. It helps the visuals. I don't know how much Google's algorithm has changed recently about that, but it makes sense. You know, people that link to you are sharing their link juice. You know, they're opening a little pipe from their website to yours, and they're saying it's good. So, and I'll talk about this in a minute. You're looking for the good links, yeah? They're also important for the surfers. So if someone's searching about baby grows and they come across the baby grow blog on someone else's site, and then they say, or you can also check out some great range of bibs, people surf from site to site. So it might not be that you've come up on the first page of Google because of it, but you've attracted traffic because of a link. So if there's a link on your YouTube video, people will surf and say, oh, let me check out her a little bit more, and they'll come and have a check out, yeah? And it connects you. So like I said, if you sell bibs and you want to connect with a baby grow supplier, then if you link to them, they'll go, oh, isn't she lovely? And you'll make a connection, and then you might do some sort of joint venture work, yeah, like a bib and baby grow combo. I honestly don't know where I pick on something on every training, and that's it. The links need to be relevant. So if you're a baby site, you might not want to be linking to builder supplies, yeah, because they're just completely unrelated. So make sure that you link to related sites, or there's some sort of connection, and that you get links from related sites. Because if you've just got links from loads and loads of random things, there's no connection there, and it'll just be a bit random. And Google doesn't probably like quite random things. Good sites. Look for sites that are reputable. If they're already doing well in Google, it's a good sign that they think they're pretty awesome themselves. So if you get a link from them, then they are by association saying that you're awesome too. So it's a good time, it's a good place to start looking for, so if you wanted to link to Baby Grows, I'd probably do a Google search on Baby Grows, see who Google is saying is top dog in Baby Grow land, and then make a connection with them and hopefully get a link from them to your bib site. So you're only linking to the sites that Google already says are brilliant, yeah? And also you can tell who is linking to your competitors. So if you've got a competitor that is above you, you would research who is linking to your competitor, and then you would ask the same people to link to you, yeah? There's a lot of work here, which is why it's quite good to outsource, but it's very good to understand before you outsource, because A, you understand what the person's doing, and you can step in and you can monitor things a little bit. So, and all of this I will go into in much more depth, but as you can see, I don't know how long I've been talking, but probably quite a while already, and we've only just covered the real basic surface level fundamental understanding stuff. So how to get links, okay? So you can do guest blogs. You can write a piece of content and get it onto someone else's website, a relevant website, and in exchange they will link to your site at the end. You can share it on social media. There are bookmarking sites. I don't know if they're valuable, but I don't think they hurt. They don't hurt. So there's things like Dig, I think, and there's a few different bookmarking sites. Any external site that might, you know, if for instance, if it's a local hotel and you're a wedding supplier, if you get a link on their suppliers or recommended suppliers page, that's a really good link for many, many reasons. So think about who you could get a link from because you are helping their clientele, yeah? Directories, local directories, I don't think they're as valuable as they used to be, but again, it doesn't harm. So there's DMOZ, which used to be, in my day, I don't know if it still is, but the link you needed to get because it's a human edited directory. And basically Google saw that if you got into DMOZ, you were definitely a proper business. So it gave you a massive boost. So going back to the good site, if you have a site from a weaker website, if you have a link from a weaker website, it might be 1 vote. But if you've got a link from an educational or a government or a big website like a BBC review or something, it will be like 10 votes or 100 votes. So you want to get the biggies if you can, because 1 biggie will be worth like 100 small ones. Forums, again, not quite, but it's still a link and it shows you're active. So when you post on a forum, it might be that you're able to post a link to a, so if someone's saying, I'm desperate to get the best baby grow for my baby and I don't know where to get it from, anyone got any ideas? You could then say, oh, I've just actually done a blog post on baby grows to review the top 10. It's just my opinion, here it is, let me know what you think. You've got a link to your website, yeah? For us, for franchising, if we went onto business startup forums and things like that and someone's saying, I'm really thinking of starting a franchise, has anyone bought one before? We could say, before you do, we've written this massive review of what we think the pros and cons are of franchising. Just give it a read, and if you've got any questions, we're just trying to sort of make sure people's eyes are open before they buy a franchise. And we can drop a link to our blog post. Again, that's a really good relevant link because Google's seeing that there's chat around it and it's linking to me. But don't be going to I wouldn't be going to a baby forum and dropping links to my franchise thing because there's no connection, it doesn't make any sense, and I'll be banned for link dropping. And also in forums you can have a signature. Sometimes you have to have posted a few times, but once you're an active contributor to that forum, in your signature you can have a link to, in your bio, you can have a link to your website, which again is another link, yeah? Blogger outreach, you don't even need to be a guest blogger. Sometimes you might say, look, I see you review bibs. I see you review bibs. You might be interested in mine. Can I send you one? You might, just to let you know. I mean, what you want to do is probably email them first to compliment them, get the conversation, and then ask them. So I'll put together some little emails to use in the full training to help you make contact with bloggers or any site like that. So it's about connection. People don't want like robo bots and things contacting them. We get enough spam. People are genuine people and they want to deal with genuine people, so be that person. And link bait, so creating content is so blinking awesome that people can't help but share it, link to it, if it's the resource. So for instance, if I had this SEO training as a free blog post, I would hope that people would see that it's genuinely good content, and people would link. So every time anyone asked about SEO, they would link to my training, my free training, because it's worthwhile. Yeah, so it's good content that people are going to want to link to without you even having to ask. It could be that you write content. You might want to think about who your target market are, what sites they visit, and deliberately create some content that site is going to want to share. Yeah, because people are looking for really good stuff to share on social media. Everyone, every business is in the same boat as you. Everyone wants to be on the front page for their keywords and key phrases. Everyone wants their content to be seen. Everyone wants their content to be shared. So it is a matter of joining together and making connections and helping one another to do that, okay? We can't do it on our own. How to get links. I just added you can pay for them, which is a complete no-no now. It used to be that you could pay links, but don't do it. And social proof. Google's looking for how active you are on social media because, again, it's like a nod for their algorithm to say that you are a genuine business. So if you're active on social media and you've got it connected to your website, in your bios and in your About Us pages, then it's saying, yeah, they're good, they're genuine, they're active on social media. It gives you that big tick, that big vote. Yeah, that you are a genuine site, so they're more likely to list you. And encourage people to share your stuff as well. You know, ask your friends and family, could you just share this? Because Google sees every share of your link. So when you do a post on Facebook, always try and drop in a link to your website. And then every time so if you did a competition and it got shared, make sure your website address is in the post, because every time that post is shared, your website is shared too, and that is another tick, another vote. Yeah? So the final part of the puzzle is that you need to analyse your results. So you can set up Google Analytics. Again, I'll do a whole training on this. So you can start to see where your traffic is coming from, what's it doing, what's the bounce rate. So how many people come and then go straight away, because Google's looking at that as well. If lots of people are coming to your site but leaving without even reading anything, then it's probably thinking that it's a bit of a rubbish site. So you need to do content, sticky content that's going to get people to stick around. But when you see if you see where the traffic is coming from, you can put more stuff there. When you see what they are doing when they get to your site, you can see which traffic you want to attract. Where did they come from? And what did they search for? So if people are searching for pink widgets and finding you, and you only sell blue widgets, you might want to go and stock some pink widgets. Yeah? It might give you an idea for a service, or you might want to find a pink widget supplier and set up an affiliate link with them, because then you will at least get a little bit of traffic for promoting the pink widgets. So look at what people are coming and finding you for, because that will allow you to grow your reach. And if you want a list of tools that I would recommend from your analytics, it's not just Google Analytics, some other ones, some different things like how to spy on your competitors. Some of them are quite pricey, some of them are free, but if you go to victoriacase1.com/SEO-tools, then I'll put a whole list there for you. Excuse me. So let me just have a sip of tea, which is stone cold. I made myself a cup of tea to do the training, and I've had one sip and it's freezing cold. Isn't that the story of being a mum? So, do you outsource or do you DIY? There is a cost to outsource. It's not cheap to outsource SEO, because as you have seen, it is quite vast. You have to write the content, you have to do the link building, you have to track it. It's a big job. So if you haven't got the funds, I would do it yourself. And maybe it's something that you want to start to outsource when you have time. If you love it, and it can be addictive, then maybe you want to look at finding someone to help you, or you might want to outsource something else that if you're good at the SEO. What I would say though is you want to be building SEO into your everyday marketing stuff. So sharing stuff on social media, that's not SEO, but it's helping your SEO. Writing your content, you can do that in the car, yeah? I will share ways in the training of how you can pretty much write blogs without any time at all to sit down at the computer. It is possible. Yeah, you don't have to sit and write a manuscript. You can literally do it on the school run. So you can fit things in. So it might be that you only want to outsource your link building. That actually you're okay writing the content, but you just don't want someone to sort of build links to it. But when you do outsource it, whatever you outsource, choose wisely. As I said right at the beginning, if you choose the wrong SEO supplier, because there are Indian companies out there, no disrespect, and there's probably some really good ones, but I have been contacted by SEO companies trying to sell me SEO services, and because I know what I'm talking about, I would grill them on what they do, and I knew more than them, and then they were telling me all this rubbish that I knew wasn't true. If anyone guarantees you first page position on Google and it's not an ad, run a mile. It's impossible. No one in the world can guarantee you a first place position. You can do all of this work to the best of your ability and you might get nowhere. That is the way it is. So that's down to picking the right keywords because you want to hedge your bet. So if you're watching this and you sell things, I would start local. Start local and work out. So for me, I might do Shepton Mallet, I might do Somerset. So Shepton Mallet baby gifts or Somerset gifts in Somerset if that's what I was doing. Because people often search locally and you're more likely to register and link for that than you are for baby gifts, yeah? So I think that is it. Let's go back to the beginning. So we have, just as a recap, we have explained really this training, and I'm not quite sure how long I've been talking, but I know it's quite a while, and I feel like I've got a dry throat and mouth, so I'm sure your ears are as worn out as my mouth is. And all I've done is I've skipped over the basics of it. So what I want to do now is to create a course pulling out every element. Every time I've said, right, then you need to choose your domain name. Then you need to do a blogger outreach. I want to have a video for each of those sessions so that it shows you step by step how to do that individual thing. And it's very much like everything in business, one foot in front of the other. So don't worry about your links until your blog is on there and you've got the green light on your SEO plugin, yeah? Don't worry about sharing it until you've got the content written. Don't worry about writing content until you know what the keywords are. It's a process. And I just hope that this session has given you a broad understanding of what is involved in SEO. So when people talk about SEO, when people talk about keywords, you understand what they're talking about. There is nothing scary in SEO. In a nutshell, what you are doing is you are thinking about what customers are searching for on Google. Yeah? You're researching to see how many people search for that term and if it's worth your while to create some content for it. You are going to write some content to help anybody that is searching for that phrase. How do I edit an image? Here is a video on how you edit an image, yeah? So I create that video. I add it to my website, which is really easy. You can do that through your phone, yeah? It's easy. And then I just find ways to share it and to get links to it in any way I can. So on social media, on YouTube, connection with my friends, on my auntie's hair salon, the blogger people that I follow. And over time, you'll create a big list of people that will share your things. That is it. The key is getting that keyword right, making amazing content that people are going to want to share without you even having to ask, and then getting people to link to it and share your stuff. If you get those three things, you've got it nailed. So it's not like a separate SEO process. That is essentially what business is about. Yeah? It's always been about that. It's always been about understanding your avatar, your customer, to know what you want to produce. It's always been about producing newsletters and content and things. Like even before the internet, you would have brochures and newsletters through the post. It's the same. And it's about making connections. It's about networking online. it's all, there's nothing rocket science or mystical about SEO, but I think because it's called SEO, which is all like, oh, what does that stand for? And that people have made it complicated because that's how they're making their money. That is why there's all this confusion around it. It doesn't have to be that hard, yeah? So thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in the in-depth training, it's going to be all available in the Tech Lab. .club, and it will be available to all our members, and it'll also be available as a one-off payment if you prefer, and I'm hoping to have some amazing guest speakers to come and talk about some of the elements as well, but that is all come out of my head today, so we will see. So like I said, this training is coming from a place where I'm training a member of the team to take this on who has no technical experience at all, so I'm going to share this video with her. If it gets a seal of approval, I will share it with you guys. If she comes back to me with loads of questions, go, I just didn't understand that, then I will go back and edit it or reword it. But I think this is going to be brilliant, because it's one of those bugbears of mine that I see SEO causing everyone so much confusion, and it shouldn't do. So I'm really hoping that we can demystify it and create the best training there is on SEO. So I would love your feedback. All right, lots of love. Bye.